Horror Talk. My name is Daniel Richardson, and it is February 19th, 2022. And recording this back to Saturday night. We had no issues like we did last week, so, we're back to our regularly scheduled program. Although I will say, we had a full moon this past week. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know. Maybe there is some basic science that backs this up, but goddamn, full moon just brings out the moodiness in everybody. Like, literally, the day I was working, it just seemed like everybody, everybody was just in this really funky-ass mood. And it was the day of the full moon. Like, that shit carries over, too. Like, literally, it's like a 3-day event of just craziness. But anyways, we got a fully loaded show tonight. We got a lot of shit to talk about, so I'm just going to jump right in. Right off the bat, let's talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is on Netflix right now. I guess this is a direct sequel. So I guess are they ignoring the shitty 2013 Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I don't know. I did very little research into this movie before I watched it, because honestly, this is a franchise that just has gone downhill so much for me that I just don't care. And it used to be one of the biggies for me. I like the original trilogy. I like it. I love the first one. The first one I think is just top notch, one of the best horror films of all time. The next two, they're not bad. I like them. I absolutely fucking love the fourth one. And depending on who you hear, what the one that one is. It's either a direct sequel, a remake, or part 4. I've heard all three of those from different cast and crew members. But that's the one with Matthew McConaughey and his robotic leg, and I fucking love it. Like, I don't know, it's a bad movie, but goddamn, it's not entertaining. And Matthew McConaughey just fucking kills in that movie. And then I do, I really like. I'll say I love the 2006 Texas Chainsaw remake. I thought it was really good, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I love it. But then I don't know, the prequel to that one, the beginning. It's not that I hated it. I would go on to rewatch it, years later. It's not that I hated it, but it's honestly just, what's the point? Like, it just seemed like that's a pointless prequel. I don't know. I want to see the story progress. We don't need to see where this, this all came from. So I was never a big fan at the beginning. Because, again, you knew no one's going to survive because it's the beginning. No one gets away from that to, rat him out or anything, so that was that one, and then they came out with Texas Chainsaw, the 3D one in 2013. I fucking just hated that movie, and everybody's like, turn your brain... No, I can turn my brain off with part 4. It's brilliant. This was not brilliant. This was a shit fucking film with so much continuity and plot holes, and Jesus fucking Christ. It was just, I don't know. I hated it. I really hated that movie. And then when Leatherface came out, again, I thought, like, they're just trying to fucking fix this train wreck of a franchise. I just didn't like it either. It was alright until the kind of twist at the end, like, oh, this guy's Leatherface the whole time. Go fuck yourself. So, I don't know. I honestly just, so I had no, when I heard they was going to be doing like a streaming, like a straight-to-streaming fucking Texas Chainsaw movie, sorry, I had no expectations whatsoever. They were the lowest of lows. I didn't bother watching trailers. I didn't read any news things of it. I just wanted to know when it was coming out. And I was like, you know what? The weekend it comes out, I'll check it out. And so right off the bat, I see this is another one that's just, it's completely split the horror community, which I think is great, because I think I know why people don't like this. And I'm going to give a full fucking review. This is going to be spoiler heavy. I'm sorry. If you don't want to listen to that, fucking click off. Go watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre and come back. I'll be here. I promise. But I think I know why people don't like this. Like, the ones who are just like, I don't like it. And there's a reason you don't like it, because you're a fucking pussy snowflake. And pussy snowflakes are the ones getting cut up in this motherfucker. And I loved it. So, we sat down tonight, had me a bowl of soup, nice little cold February evening, and I threw on the Texas Chainsaw. And right off the bat, I don't know, love the look of it. I love that it feels like it's not really a Texas Chainsaw movie. Like, it just has a different look to it, and that's okay. That's the thing that really bugs me, is like everybody just wants a franchise to be the exact same throughout. I'm not a Star Wars nerd. I don't like Star Wars movies at all. I just don't. It's not my thing. Pew pew. Am I right? I don't get it. But the one thing I thought was brilliant was whichever one was of The Last Jedi that Rian Johnson directed, and like every nerd was like crying themselves to sleep. Fuck that movie. We're gonna sign a petition and make sure it's no longer canon in our rule. Dude, go fuck yourself, alright, you fucking nerd. What was wrong with it? It looked different, it had a different vibe to it. Boo-hoo. I want someone new to do it. In fact, I think that's what it should be. And just let them have full fucking control. That's why I don't like Marvel movies, because they're all the fucking same. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, so regardless of all that, first thing I really dug about this movie was just the look of it. Right off the bat, I was kind of hesitant with the characters because, oh my god, these fucking characters, I hated them. There's no one to root for. And I mean, it may just be an age thing. I know people my age, back when I was watching movies, hated all the kids in horror films, and they're rooting for Jason to pick them off. And I was like, no, I'm rooting for the kids. And the older I get, I'm like, no, I'm not rooting for any of these kids. And these were the same kind of kids that, I don't know, I work with some of them, I deal with some of these people. Unfortunately, I have friends like this, just whiny little snowflakes, boo-hooing about everything. I don't like them. They're just pretentious little D-bags that haven't really experienced life at all. And they got a hard dose of reality in this movie, and that's what I liked about it. I hated the Wrong Turn remake they did, I think it was last year. But the one thing I did like about it was, I hated all those characters, and I loved seeing them just get taken down, because they were the same fucking kids. And the same thing in Green Inferno. I love that these kids are all like douchey little tree-hugging pussies, and you see just how, and that's the thing, I'm not against what these kids stand for, I just don't like the arrogance and the fucking way they go about it, and how they're really no better than the people they're trying to put down. And that's what this movie is really about, was like these guys are like, we're going to make a little utopia for people just like us, and we're going to be open and understanding. And then everybody they talk down to, and you're just like, fuck these people, I want to see them get chainsawed up. And guess what? It delivered. It fucking delivered, I'll tell you that much right now. Anyway, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was going back on all these movies of like snowflakes getting killed. Back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so, right off the bat, we kind of established, that this is, once again, I'm not sure if it falls on the timeline. I'm not sure if they're even adding, I guess they can't be adding the 2013 one, or even Leatherface. This has to just be like it has to be like, the Halloween 2018 version of Detective. Well, they did the same title, didn't they? And I bitched about that a while back ago about how I hate when remakes have the same title or sequels have the same title, but fuck it. Texas Chainsaw is so fractured as it is. We'll let it slide on this one. But no, we established, that the events of the first one took place. Sally Hardesty survived and kind of MIA right now. And so you got these kids, these fucking douchey little kids who are going to this it's like a ghost town, Harlow, Texas, and their plan is basically to buy it all up with investors who are all just as douchey as they are, and they're just going to turn it into this little hipster fucking haven, right? And of course, when they get there, and right off the bat, you can tell, like, the cops that don't really, dig them. There's a local hillbilly who's basically, he's a mechanic, I guess. Like, I don't know why he's still there, but he's also, there with him and everything, and you can tell he don't really like him. But what happens is, where they fuck up, they go into this one house, and they try to kick out this old woman. And the old woman has a son. I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, it's Leatherface. And what happens is, as, they're trying to remove her, and that's the whole thing, like, she's telling them, and regardless, if, let's say, fuck it, she doesn't have, the deed to the house. That's the whole thing. He's like, we own all this now, and where's your deed at? She's like, I don't have to show you a deed. I live here. And it finds out later she does still have a deed, so it's just like, yeah, you guys fucked up. But let's just say that she didn't have a deed. Let's just say she's some old, crazy Texas hillbilly who's losing her mind. These kids had no right to go about the way they did, right? And, like, literally, you could just tell right there that, these are not characters you're supposed to like at all. With the exception of maybe who turns out to be kind of the, like, final girl at the end. She, I don't know who she is. I thought she was that Kate something that was in The Little Hours comedy that had Aubrey Plaza and I forget who the third girl was. Also had Dave Franco. Maybe Riley. Oh, John C. Riley. It had a great cast. The Little Hours. Anyway, I thought it was a girl from there. It's a splitting image. I need to look her up and see if she's related or something like that. But anyways, she's the one that you find out is a school shooter survivor. Yeah, sorry, I should say that a little bit better. She survived a school shooting. That's how I should have said it. But yeah, so she had all this kind of trauma in her past, and it feels very real. Doesn't feel tacked on or whatever. I mean, it feels like no, that's pretty fucking hardcore. And so she's the only one that you kind of like in this movie. You kind of feel sympathy for her, and you're really kind of hoping she makes it out. But anyway, it's her sister, and then the sister has a business partner that they're doing this kind of putting this group together, and then his fiance. So that's the main four. So when they try to push this old lady out of this house, not push her out, they're trying to get her out of the house. She ends up kind of like she has some kind of medical thing. She's hooked up to an oxygen tank, and she ends up kind of spasming out and like puking up pus and shit. And so Leatherface picks her up, puts her in the back of the police van. They go off, but she dies on the way, and that just releases Leatherface, and he just breaks bad. And seriously, the brutality, and I mean, I'm not going to do a blow-by-blow with this movie, but the brutality, he just kills every motherfucker. Gets himself his Leatherface early on, gets his human face mask, and then he just goes back to the house, or goes back, to his house in this town, where now you got all these little snowflakes now. They gathered. You got, there's at least 20 of them, maybe 30. And they're on this big tour bus, and they're all planning on, they're like auctioning off different buildings. They're going to each buy it and put their own little business in there. And so he goes back and basically just has all these people to pick from. It's fantastic. I'll end it there. I won't spoil much beyond that. We do get a return, and I believe it should have been in the trailer because everybody was talking about it before I saw it. But Sally Hardesty makes a return. I don't know who the actress is that played her, because obviously it couldn't be Marilyn Burns, but she goes badass. There's only maybe one scene in this movie where I am just kind of like, really? And there's a scene where she confronts him, has him dead to rights, shotgun, right to his face, and she's like, do you remember me? And he acts like he doesn't, and instead of just charging her and killing her like he's done everybody else in this movie, he just walks out of the room, and it's just like, it rang so hollow for both characters. Like, Leatherface should have went right after her and killed her. And she, who is kind of taking over the Linda Hamilton Terminator role, or I guess Jamie Lee Curtis from the last Halloween movie, she's badass, I'm going to hunt this guy kind of thing. And she just lets him go. And then later on, they kind of pick it back up and they start fighting, but it's just like, this one scene, I don't know, I didn't like it. I didn't like that one scene. And there's a bit of ridiculousness where, he kind of kills Sally Hardesty, but she somehow survives the attack, and I'm like, what? But, I let it go, because honestly, this is just an awesome fucking movie. It's badass, has an awesome score, great direction, a lot of cool shots in this thing. When he fucking kills one guy, it's like there's a little swinging door, and so every time the swinging door is just kind of going in and out, you're seeing just more carnage behind it. I don't know. Fucking loved it. There's a bloodbath where he takes out a bunch of them at once. I love that sequence. And like I said, I like the main girl. I mean, I guess, her sister's somewhat likable because she's not quite as douchey as the rest of them. So I guess you're rooting for her too, essentially. But I will say this final girl, probably my favorite final girl from the series. Now, I know I just watched this. I mean, literally, as soon as I got done turning this movie off, I hooked up the microphone and got this podcast going. So I'm still, I'm in the honeymoon phase of this movie right now. So, but I will say this: I think even within a week, when I go back and think about this, it's still going to be one of my favorites in the franchise. This is easily the best one since the 2006 remake, and depending on how much I watch this one, I don't know, it could even overtake that. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of the last three movies, so it wasn't a big hurdle, to clear. But no, this movie just, it's badass, it's awesome, it's bloody, lots of carnage. I don't know what else to say. It's on Netflix. You got Netflix, check it out. So, all right, guys, taking a drink. Sorry, guys. I know I should be able to, handle that better. I'll share something with you. I don't know what it is. I've been just getting like cotton mouth really bad lately. Like I just get dried out so quickly, and when you're talking, it just makes it worse. So I don't know. So I find myself literally just always gotten liquids on me just so I can drink something. So whatever. And my drink of choice tonight is water. It's just boring old water, but it is what it is. So some news that kind of popped up over the week. Sadly, we lost Ivan Reitman. Director of the first two Ghostbusters movies. Really the only two Ghostbusters movies. I haven't seen Afterlife. I will watch it, but we can skip over that girl one. And yeah, I'm being condescending. I'm not sexist at all. I can go on a rant about Ghostbusters 2016 a different time. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, believe me, I'll bring it to you. But anyways, Ivan Reitman directed. I think one of his most underrated movies that you don't hear too many people talk about is Evolution, with Dave Duchovny, Sean William Scott, and Orlando Jones. I think that's the guy I'm thinking of from Matt TV. Oh, and Julianne Moore. Like I love Julianne Moore. Anyways, but no, it was just a great fucking sci-fi comedy. Really good stuff, and it had the same spirit, I believe, as the Ghostbusters movie. But for whatever reason, that just did not catch on, and that's sad. Anyways, Ivan Reitman, I'm trying to think what else he did. Kindergarten Cop, obviously. Meatballs. And I think he mostly did producing. He did like Animal House, and I didn't know this. He did Heavy Metal, so it's just like holy shit, this guy. And so yeah, sad to see it go. Sad to see him go. You hate to see it. So yeah, like I said, but his legacy is intact. Like there's nothing going to tarnish that bad boy. He left behind a great body of work. So yeah, R.I.P. man. So, trying to transition out of that, kind of hard to do, but we'll give it a shot. Also, this past week, they announced that they're going to be doing a second season of Cursed Films, which is a show on Shudder. Basically, the premise is like a docu-series where every episode they focus on one movie that is, had a reputation of being a cursed film. So, for example, The Crow. Brandon Lee was shot on set. They had some other issues. Got the, reputation, cursed film. Twilight Zone, the movie, you had the deaths, plural, on that one, same kind of thing. So, you get the idea of what, this is. And so they're coming up with the second season, and I'm really fucking pumped to, see these. I'm not gonna lie, what I really love about this series is, I don't know, every time I've ever seen these in the past, or anything about these movies in the past, whether if it's on a DVD or, I remember like even E did like a whole special about, movies that had bad luck or whatever. I don't know, the way they're just made just seems so cold, just kind of cold and heartless kind of thing. And I don't know, something about this just kind of, it's the same kind of people you're interviewing each time too. So I don't know, but it just seems like there's more heart to this. And when you see people being interviewed, I don't know, you kind of feel more for it. Yeah, the Poltergeist one with the little girl, and I forget the actress's name. Heather O'Rourke, is that it? But, same thing with her, she died shortly. I don't even think she made it past the premiere. I think once her scenes were shot, she died shortly after that. And, it's really depressing when I know she died before shooting ended, because I remember they said they had a stunt double, or a body double, to finish up the movie, so she died during production. So yeah, I don't know. I really find these really interesting, and a lot of times I'll hear things on here I haven't heard previously. So that's kind of a good thing. But that's the kind of thing you're into. I would highly recommend this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and program your double feature for you this week. The double feature we got right here, two classics, kind of from different genres, but I feel like that's the way it should be. I really think it should be the strength of a double feature. You shouldn't have to tie them together thematically. And I'm trying to get away from that, from here on. I think the first one we tied together pretty good, but this one not so much. So, you know how this works. I like to, give you guys a really cool double feature to watch for the week. And not only do I program the movies, but I program the trailers as well. So, you got them loaded up. First thing you do, Paranormal Activity trailer. You follow that. And I love Paranormal Activity. I know it gets a bad rep. I like the later ones. I will say the first one can get a little boring, but classic nonetheless. And it kind of ties into the first feature, so that's why it's kind of on the list here. Next, we're going to go with the Babadook. I'll be honest with you, I was not a fan of that one. I need to watch it again. I was expecting something totally different than what I actually got that movie. And that's, that happens. There's been times I watch movies I didn't care for initially, and then I go back and watch them down the road, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is really good. Or, wow, this is better than I remember it being. Babadook, I don't know, I just wasn't a big fan of it. That kid was annoying. Like, I don't know. If Adrian, which is my son, winds up being like that kid from Babadook, I'm just going to feed him to the Babadook. And I know that's not what the movie's about, but being facetious. But still, I'll lock his ass in the basement with the Babadook and be like, that's it. You're done. That kid was fucking annoying. I'm sorry. That kid was fucking annoying. Seriously. I would just beat him to get caught just so he gets taken to the Child Protective Services. I'll go to the police station and just beat the kid right in front of him. Back, here you go. Kid's yours now. Put him with someone else because I can't handle this kid. This kid was fucking annoying. Beat him. And then finally, the third trailer before we go to our first feature will be Sinister. I love Sinister too. God damn, great fucking movie. So the first film we're going, and the reason I kind of tied that one in there is because this is a movie that was made for very little and grossed quite a bit. And so the movie I'm talking about is The Blair Witch Project from 1999. This is a movie too that the first time I watched it, I did not like it at all. It came out when I was a freshman in high school, or right before I became a freshman. So I was in between my 8th and 9th year of school, and so I'm still pretty young and stupid and don't really know, don't know subtleties in filmmaking. I don't know, suspense. I don't want. I wanted all, all kill or no filler is what I wanted back then. How young and naive I was, but this came on FX. I don't know, a couple years later. I think I was probably a senior when it finally came to TV. And for whatever reason, I just sat up and watched that. And it just got to me. I can't explain it. And I think because honestly, I don't think I was wanting to watch it. I think I was watching something else on FX, and then this came on. And it was just one of those, like, I was doing homework or something. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just let this play in the background. And I don't know, man. It was creepy. And I guess because even now I knew how it was going to end. I knew there was going to be no big climax or finale or anything like that. It's going to end pretty abruptly, and nothing really ever gets resolved. We don't see anything. But just, I don't know, man. You actually put your imagination to it, I guess. You know you're not going to see anything, and you're like, all right, this is what I'm left with. I don't know. Worked out really good. So it's funny because actually whenever I was younger, I was actually a huge fan of The Blair Witch Part 2. And I still do like that. Don't get me wrong, I do like that. But then, like, as years go on, I go back and rewatch that one. That one seems like a trash film. Like, it just seems like, this is not really good filmmaking. This is just kind of, I love the story to it. I still love the story. I think, most of the actors do, pretty decent in this thing. I just think that, you had a documentary filmmaker trying to make a regular film, more traditional, I guess I should say regular, but more traditional film. And that just kind of, I don't know, didn't work to its advantage. And then you hear, like, when you listen to the commentary of this, you hear, his name was Joe Berlinger. He's the guy who he did the Paradise Lost documentaries. And so anyways, whenever, he was doing his thing here, the producers just kept stepping in and cutting his balls off. Like, no matter what he wanted to do, they're like, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to do it this way. And yeah, I get it. Like, it'd be hard to, try to make a good movie when you got a vision. And unfortunately, we'll never fully know. And that's the thing. He said he was wanting to go more psychological, much like the first one. But they just kept wanting to amp up all these gory shots and everything else. And like I said, I'm not sure how his version would have turned out. Maybe it wouldn't have been much better. I don't know. But I will just say, like I said, when I watched it when I was in high school, that came out in 2000. That came out the very next year, 2000. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I was like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. And then, like I said, as the years go by, that's why I eventually bought Blair Witch Part 1, because it was in a 2-pack of Part 2. And I was like, fuck, I guess I'll buy it since I have to, because I just want Part 2. And at that point, it was already past the FX thing when I watched it, and it creeped me out. But then, just one night, like, you know what, fuck it, let's throw in Blair Witch 1, and yeah, loved it. So, I don't know. Blair Witch Project, it's your first one. So then, we get a little intermission with some other trailers. And the first trailer we throw up there is The Ring. I love The Ring. This is a movie too that I don't know. I feel like when I watched it the first time, it really was like one of the scariest things I ever seen. And the next 2 or 3 times I watched it, repeat viewings, and I was still in my early 20s, I should mention, but this movie just, I don't know, there was something about this movie that just scared the shit out of me. I mean, it was definitely the girl, it was Samara. Donovan Chase was her name, I think the actress's name. But man, just creepy. And I remember even they did a short film, not to be confused with the part 3 that would come later. They did a short film called Rings. And before part 2 dropped, Rings was basically the short film that they were going to throw on the special features. And it was kind of a lead-in to part 2. And even that short film was fucking creepy, I thought. Like, I thought it was really well done, so I was really pumped and scared. Literally scared to see part 2. And then I watched part 2, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Jesus Christ, that's a shitstorm of a film right there. Hated it. Even revisited it years later. Still bad. Still a bad movie, you know. So anyway, and then Rings was just kind of in the middle. I've seen the Ringu movie. I think like the first 4. Or at least I have a box set. It's like the Ringu collection, but it had like 1 and 2, and then one's a prequel, and then they did a sequel, but then it didn't turn out good, so they did another sequel, and just kind of erased that first sequel. I don't know. I got 4 of them, and they're all decent, you know, but even like the Japanese version, which most people prefer, but I don't think it's that scary. I don't know why. This one just, I don't know, The Ring always freaked me out. Now, as the years have gone by, you know, I watch it now, and it seems very cliched, which isn't its fault, because when it came out, it was fresh and scary, and I feel like, you know, a lot of movies took its, you know, I mean, I know it's a remake, so I mean, by saying like other movies kind of took its style, I get it. This movie was a remake of Japanese, you know, horror, and it definitely took its style. But still, you know, I can watch it now. I still think it's entertaining. I think it's still a great movie. But yeah, it doesn't seem as scary as it once did. So that's the first trailer. In between these movies, after that we go to Blair Witch, which is, you know, the follow-up. I believe they even said it was a direct one. I don't think they even counted Book of Shadows in the, you know, the new canon, the new storyline. But Blair Witch, 2006, no, 13. I don't remember which one that one came out in. I think it was 16. 13 was a Evil Dead remake. I don't know, I could be wrong. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This was another found footage, and I forget who directed it now. But I remember the directors really excited me. They were like one of those dudes who did like one of the VHS segments, and so they were definitely like found footage pros. And so the fact that they're going back to found footage, the trailer looked really good. But then when I watched the movie, I don't know, there was good in it, but in the end, it just kind of felt like it just felt very soulless to me. And I hate to say that, because I think the filmmakers really did kind of put their all into this. Like, they weren't just trying to cash in. I feel like they were actually making this because they were actual fans of the first one. But I don't know, for me, it just kind of fell flat. But it's included here because I feel like, you know, if you're a big fan of the first one, you'd be like, oh yeah, here's a trailer for part 2. I'll check, or part 3, whatever you want to call it. I'll check it out. And then finally, the last trailer I put on there, I think I put this on a previous double feature, but it's okay. It Follows, which, again, just one of those movies that really just, it's just so unique and different. And yes, there are some flaws. Anybody who watches Cinema Sins, which I absolutely love, you watch it and you're like, yeah, some of the stuff has some holes. Doesn't fucking matter, because the first time I watched it, it blew me away. The second time, just as much. And I'm sure if I watch it again, I would still be on board. So It Follows is the third one. And that leads us to our second feature film, The Cabin in the Woods. 2012. This movie is just, or it was 2012, I forget when it actually came out. I forget. It's one of those things where maybe it was released in 2012 and it was actually finished in like 2010 or something like that. Either way, this movie was like made and then shelved for whatever reason, and then they finally busted it out. And I know right now everybody's pissed at Josh Whedon. I don't care. If the guy's a scumbag, so be it. But I'm not going to turn against his movies because of that. And this is just a fine film. Now I don't think he directed. I think he just wrote it. Drew Goddard, the guy who did Cloverfield, I think. Did he do this? I should do my homework. I'm sorry I didn't. Anyway, but this movie just, I don't know. right off the gate, just right out the gate, the very first scene you get is with the two dudes, Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins, and they're just having this most mundane conversation about putting, child-proof locks on all the drawers and cabinets, and just it's all it is. And they're getting vending machine and coffee, they're getting their snacks, and then they get in this little golf cart and they're driving away. And then the title card comes up, jump scare style, cabin in the woods, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I love this movie already. This is like one of the best horror. This is like how you do horror comedy right here, because yes, there's a lot of silliness. There's a lot of fun, goofiness, but it also brings the scares. It has a hell of a story. It's funny because after the success of this, I read at one point they were wanting to do a sequel, and I'm like, don't do a fucking sequel. This is like the one time you can't do a sequel. Like, world's gone. It's fucking over. I would love to see the prequels, and unfortunately, I think now Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins are just way too old for it. But I would love to see like the young version of them. Just pound around. That's all I want. I don't even want an actual horror movie. I don't care. We know, like, if they don't, save it, the world will, because clearly they were able to stop, the ancient ones from rising up. But I just want to see more of that banter, more of that talk. Those office scenes are just fucking brilliant. So, anyways, Cabin in the Woods is your second feature. So, quick recap. First trailers are Paranormal Activity, The Babadook, and Sinister. And then your first feature is The Blair Witch Project. And then your next three trailers are The Ring, Blair Witch, It Follows, followed by your next feature, The Cabin in the Woods. So there you go. There's your double feature for this week. And before I get out of here, I just want to go ahead and throw out, I don't do it at the top of the show. Made more sense to do it at the top of the show, and I forgot. But speaking of, I brought this up earlier, 2016. The year. This day in horror, we go back to 2016, and The Witch was released, and we talked about that in the first double feature I strung together, so this guy needs to come full circle on that thing. So there you have it. Did you see The Witch in theaters? I did not. I watched it at home. I want to say I rented it. I can't remember, but either way, I just remember, I really love that movie, but goddamn, is that volume low. Like, you really got to turn that shit up all the way. But, brilliant fucking movie. And yes, before I go, one last thing. And I'm going to butcher the first name of this. I apologize. But yes. Wait 1 second. Sorry, got dead air right there. Didn't mean that. So, we just got news today that Attack of the Giant Ladybug has been picked as an official selection for the, I got it out right now, sorry, for the Chinali Indie Film Festival, and that's huge, that's fucking huge. So I want to thank everybody at the Chinali Film Festival for, watching this, accepting it, making it part of your film festival. This is, like I said, it's insane, because this is a Z-level little monster movie. If you really, when you see it, you're just like, okay, wow, And yeah, I'm glad it caught an audience. I really am. But like when you explain the premise to somebody, and then they're like, well, how did you achieve that with no money? And you're like, oh, exactly how you think. Giant ladybug stalking a girl home from a bar. We didn't have CGI. We didn't have good puppeteers. It's literally me in a ladybug outfit that we just cobbled together. It's insane. But that's the charm, and you play it straight. That's what you do, and for whatever reason, this has caught on in a huge way. Like every festival it hits, it blows. I mean, it's already won multiple awards. I don't know. It blows me away, and literally, I'm so proud of Angel Lopez, my girlfriend. She directed this thing. So proud of her that she was able to get this off the ground. But I'm proud of everybody involved. Once again, me and Josh have been busting our ass producing this thing. We, been trying to get it out there to everybody. Ren Fields, she was the lead in that. She did tremendous. One thing I don't know if people know or not, like she put her body on the line when she made this thing. Like there's a scene where as she's running from the ladybug, we had these mats and blankets and everything laid down. We're like, hey, go through these plastic containers. But you're here, Markera, and like she just threw herself so hard, she literally like went over it. Like she took a tumble on fucking concrete or whatever. So it's just like there really is this blood, sweat, and tears in this movie, and so I don't know. It just means the world, and I don't want to just blow it off like it's a humble brag, but it really is, because you don't realize that we are nobodies from Bedford, Indiana. Most of you don't even know where Bedford, Indiana is at. Maybe you don't even know where Indiana's at. I don't know. But, like, we are from this small little town. And the fact that we have no real equipment, like, seriously, all of our... In fact, the camera we actually used for that movie was the last time we got to use that camera, because that camera is now broken. Like, it's all old equipment. We have really bad, shoddy, editing stuff. These are literally cobbled together with love and passion. And so the fact that these are now being seen around the world, like these shorts are going up and out, it truly does mean the world to us. So again, we just gotta say thank you to everybody out there who has shown shown us support. And like I said, you show your support in different ways. Some people join up, help us make these films. Some people, as simple as just sharing the links that we drop on our social media. That means the world. That means people are, your friends are seeing it. Then, your friends' friends are going to see it. And it's a snowball effect. I don't know. It's incredible. So, I think I rambled enough. I want to thank, everybody for listening this week. Again, same thing with the show. That's how we kind of get the word out. Snowball effect. Just share this with other people. Anybody you think, would like this style. Just me talking shit into a microphone for 30 to 40-something minutes a week. Hey, we love your support. So, guys, thank you so much for listening.